Freedom is not something that is handed to you. It is something you earn, something you rise into, something you claim with every action you take and every decision you make. If you want complete freedom, you must understand that it comes with a price. It demands discipline, vision, and relentless pursuit. You must commit to becoming the kind of person who cannot be held back by limitations, fear, doubt, or the expectations of others. Freedom is the ability to live on your terms, to create the life you want, and to answer to no one but your own highest values. It is the destination that so many crave, but only the few truly reach. Why? Because the path to complete freedom is not easy, it is not given, it is built, and to build it, there are laws you must follow. These are not suggestions, they are not nice ideas. They are unbreakable, non-negotiable principles that will shape your life if you honor them. You want to be free, then let these laws become your guide. The first law to achieve complete freedom is the law of responsibility. You must take full ownership of your life. Blaming others, making excuses, or waiting for external circumstances to change is the surest way to remain trapped. The moment you take radical responsibility for where you are and where you're going, everything changes. You stop being a victim and start being a creator. You begin to see your power. You recognize that while you may not control everything, you control your response to everything. And in that response lies your freedom. Responsibility means you no longer complain. You adapt, you act, and you overcome. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do it for you. And that's not a reason to be discouraged. It's a reason to rise. You have more power than you realize, and when you take responsibility, that power becomes real. The second law is the law of clarity. You cannot be free if you don't know where you're going. Vagueness is a prison. Clarity is the key that unlocks the door. When you know who you are, what you want, and what matters most to you, then you start moving with purpose. You don't drift. You don't get distracted. You don't waste time chasing someone else's dream. You define your own success. You set your own standards, and once you see the target, you can focus every ounce of your energy on hitting it. Clarity is not something you wait for. It's something you create. You get clear by asking yourself the hard questions, by looking at your life with honesty, and by being courageous enough to tell yourself the truth. Freedom starts when you stop pretending and start pursuing what's real for you. The third law is the law of discipline. Nothing worthwhile is built without it. Discipline is freedom in disguise. The person who can control their impulses, who can do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not, who can delay gratification, that person holds the keys to every door. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want whenever you want. That's not freedom. That's slavery to your emotions. Real freedom is being able to choose your actions in alignment with your highest goals, even when it's hard. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. It is the daily act of showing up for your purpose, of doing the work even when it's boring, of pushing through resistance when comfort is calling. You don't need more motivation. You need more discipline, because motivation is fleeting, but discipline is forever. The fourth law is the law of courage. Fear will always be present. It never truly goes away. But freedom belongs to those who act despite fear, who move forward even when their hands shake and their heart races. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's mastery over it. It's choosing to do what's right over what's easy. Every time you face your fears, you grow. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand your freedom. The walls of your life are built by the fears you refuse to face. Tear them down. Speak the truth. Take the risk, make the move. Freedom doesn't come to the comfortable. It comes to the brave. So choose courage again and again until it becomes who you are. The fifth law is the law of detachment. You will never be free if you are chained to outcomes, opinions, or possessions. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means you do your best, give your all, and then let go of what you cannot control. It means not allowing your happiness to depend on things outside your control. It means not tying your worth to what others think of you. The freer you become internally, the less you need externally. You stop chasing validation. You stop needing to prove yourself. You stop clinging to things that were never meant to define you. Detachment is powerful because it gives you back your energy, your peace, and your independence. You realize that you already have everything you need within you, and when you no longer need anything, you are finally free to enjoy everything. The sixth law is the law of purpose. Without purpose, life is empty. Without purpose, you are at the mercy of every distraction, every shiny object, every passing trend. Purpose anchors you. It gives meaning to the struggle. It fuels your persistence. When you have a why, you find a how. You stop living aimlessly and start living intentionally. Purpose transforms pain into power. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. It gives you a reason to rise every morning and push forward even when it's hard. You don't find your purpose. You choose it. You look at your strengths, your experiences, your values, and your desires, and you decide what you're going to give to the world. Then you pursue it with everything you've got. That kind of fire cannot be extinguished. It burns through fear. It shatters limitations, and it opens the door to true freedom. The seventh law is the law of self, mastery. Freedom comes from within. Until you master yourself, you will always be a slave to your weaknesses, your habits, your emotions, and your past. Self-mastery means you are no longer ruled by impulses. You become aware of your patterns and take control of them. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You build strength in your body, clarity in your mind, and resilience in your spirit. Self-mastery is a lifelong process, but every step you take gives you more freedom. It's in the way you speak to yourself, the way you take care of your health, the way you stay calm under pressure. The more you know yourself, the more you can lead yourself, and once you can lead yourself, nothing outside you can hold you back. The eighth law is the law of boundaries. You cannot be free if you don't protect your energy. You cannot say yes to everything and everyone and expect to live on your own terms. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They are the standards you set for how others treat you and how you treat yourself. If you don't set boundaries, you will be pulled in a million directions, living by other people's agendas instead of your own. You must have the strength to say no. No to toxic people. No to distractions. No to things that do not serve your vision. You teach the world how to treat you by what you tolerate. Freedom is not just about removing chains. It's about never letting them latch on in the first place. Boundaries create space for your purpose to flourish. They guard your peace, and they remind you that your time, your energy, and your life are sacred. The ninth law is the law of financial independence. Money isn't everything, but the lack of it can be a prison. Freedom requires resources. If you are constantly in debt, constantly relying on someone else for survival, constantly struggling just to get by, you are not free. Financial freedom is not about luxury. It's about options. It's about creating streams of income, building assets, and mastering your relationship with money so that you can live life on your terms. It's about being able to walk away from toxic situations, choose your own path, and invest in what matters most. Money should be a tool, not a master. Learn how it works, respect it, use it wisely, build something that gives you freedom today and security tomorrow. When your finances are in order, your mind is clearer, your stress is lower, and your choices are wider. The 10th law is the law of truth. Nothing binds you more than lies, especially the ones you tell yourself. Freedom requires honesty, brutal, unflinching honesty. You must be willing to face your flaws, admit your mistakes, and confront your reality. Stop pretending, stop avoiding, stop running from the truth. The truth may hurt, but it will also heal, it will guide you, it will strengthen you. When you live in alignment with your truth, you don't need to fake anything. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to hide. You are free to be who you are, and that is the most liberating feeling in the world. Lies create confusion, guilt, and shame. Truth creates clarity, confidence, and peace. So choose truth every time. Speak it, live it, become it. The 11th and final law is the law of growth. Freedom is not a destination. It's a journey. You never arrive. You keep evolving. You keep learning. You keep expanding. The moment you stop growing, you start dying. Growth requires discomfort. It requires humility. It requires effort. But it is the foundation of all freedom, because the more you grow, the more capable you become. The more you grow, the more value you can create. The more you grow, the more life opens up for you. Don't settle. Don't get complacent. Don't shrink to fit the comfort zone. Push yourself. Stretch yourself. Invest in your mind, your skills, your network, your character. Freedom grows with you. Every new level you reach gives you more access, more influence, more ability to design the life you want. So keep growing. Keep becoming. Keep reaching for more. These 11 laws are not optional. They are the blueprint. They are the path. If you want complete free, mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, then you must embrace these laws and let them shape your life. You must be willing to do what most won't so you can live how most can't. Freedom isn't found, it's forged. It's built one choice, one habit, one belief at a time. The world will try to distract you. People will try to discourage you. Obstacles will try to derail you. But if you stay committed to these laws, you will rise. You will break free from every chain, internal and external. You will live with a fire in your soul and a peace in your heart. You will no longer be defined by your past, your fears, or anyone else's limitations. You will become the master of your fate and the author of your destiny. So don't just dream about freedom. Don't just wish for it. Decide to earn it. Step into the fire, embrace the discipline, walk the path, follow the laws, and become the kind of person who doesn't just chase freedom, but lives it, breathes it, and inspires others to do the same. That is your calling, that is your power, and that is your destiny. Because once you've tasted true freedom, freedom of mind, freedom of time, freedom of direction, freedom of self, there's no going back. There's no settling for mediocrity. There's no pretending to be satisfied with a life built on compromise and convenience. Real freedom is addictive, but it's the kind of addiction that empowers you, not enslaves you. It's not found in momentary pleasure or external success. It's found in the quiet confidence of a person who knows they are living authentically, fearlessly, and purposefully. You wake up differently when you're free. You walk differently. You speak with conviction not because you have to prove anything, but because your life proves everything. Your energy changes. People feel it. They see the light in your eyes, the certainty in your steps, the peace that can't be shaken. That's the kind of life that turns heads and changes hearts. That's the kind of life that makes a mark not just on your world, but on the world. And don't be mistaken. Freedom doesn't mean a life without struggle. It means choosing your struggle. It means knowing what's worth the fight. Because when you're fighting for your own freedom, every challenge becomes a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. The pressure becomes fuel. The failures become lessons. The delays become preparation. You don't resent the hard moments because you know what they're building. You trust the process because you trust yourself. That's the power of living by these 11 laws. They fortify your spirit. They shape your identity. They elevate your standard. And as you continue on this path, you'll begin to notice something remarkable. Freedom creates more freedom. When you live free, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Your growth becomes a model. Your discipline inspires others to rise. You begin to shift not just your own world, but the lives of those around you. And that ripple effect can reach farther than you ever imagined. All because you made the decision to live differently, to rise, to lead, to be free. The world we live in thrives on keeping people in mental and emotional chains. Chains of self-doubt, chains of consumerism, chains of fear and conformity. But you don't have to accept that reality. You can break the cycle. You can create a life that's driven by intention, not impulse, vision, not fear. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You need a decision, a commitment, a fire that refuses to be put out. There will be days when it feels like the weight is too heavy, when progress feels slow, when the people around you don't understand your path. That's when you return to these laws. You remind yourself that freedom is not a single moment. It's a mindset. It's a way of living. Every time you honor these principles, you reclaim a piece of your soul. Every time you choose growth over comfort, truth over lies, responsibility over excuses, you become more unstoppable. It won't always be glamorous. The real work of freedom happens behind the scenes. Early mornings, late nights, quiet sacrifices, and hard conversations. But that's where greatness is born. That's where your future is written. And when you finally reach that point where you're no longer controlled by your circumstances, when you're no longer living in reaction, but in creation, you'll know. You'll know that it was all worth it. Freedom is peace, it is power, it is presence. It's the ability to walk away from what doesn't serve you and run toward what does. It's knowing you can bend but not break, fall but not fail, be doubted but never defeated. It's living in such a way that nothing owns you, not people, not possessions, not the past. You stand tall, rooted in purpose, driven by vision, protected by principles. That's the life you're building. That's the person you're becoming, one decision, one action, one belief at a time. So let the world watch, let them wonder, let them question your fire until they feel its heat. You weren't made to be average. You weren't born to be controlled. You are here to live wide open, unchained, unapologetic, unstoppable. The road won't be easy. There will be setbacks, doubts, and detours, but those aren't signs to stop. They're tests. They're there to see if you really want it, if you're really willing to earn it, and you are. Deep down, you know that nothing else will satisfy. Comfort might feel good for a moment, but freedom satisfies the soul. So you keep going, you keep rising, you keep building the life that only you can build, and as you walk this path, something incredible happens. You start to see the truth, that freedom was never outside of you. It was within you all along. It was waiting for you to choose it, to fight for it, to live it. Now you know the laws, now you know the way, and now it's time to walk it. Not someday, not when it's easy, not when you feel ready now, because your life is happening right now. Your freedom is waiting, and your time is here. So rise. And as you rise, you realize something else. Freedom isn't just for the lucky few. It's not reserved for those born into privilege, or those who had perfect parents, or those who caught all the breaks. It's for the determined, for the disciplined, for the daring. It's for those who are willing to outgrow who they used to be. It's for those who are tired of surviving and ready to start living. It's for those who have felt the weight of limitation and said, no more. You don't need ideal conditions. You need an unshakable decision. That's what separates the free from the trapped, the decision to rise no matter what. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for someone to understand your dream. You stop waiting for the stars to align. You realize that freedom doesn't knock at waits for you to kick the door open. You don't need more signs. You don't need more time. You need more action, because every day you delay, a piece of your potential dies. Every day you wait for perfect conditions, someone else is out there building the life you want. But when you begin to take ownership, when you embody these laws, you shift the momentum, you take the power back. And suddenly the life you once dreamed of doesn't feel so far away. It feels real, it feels possible, it feels inevitable. You begin to see obstacles differently. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? You stop fearing resistance and start welcoming it as a sign of growth. You stop wishing things were easier and start becoming stronger. That's the posture of freedom, not avoiding the fire, but walking through it and becoming better because of it. You stop shrinking to fit the comfort zone, and you start expanding into your potential. And soon, the things that once terrified you lose their grip. The people you used to need approval from fade into the background. The doubts that used to paralyze you now fuel your resolve, because you're not living for comfort anymore. You're living for freedom, and that kind of life requires a different energy. It demands integrity. It calls for sacrifice, but it rewards you with a richness that can't be bought, a strength that can't be shaken, and a legacy that cannot be erased. You begin to realize that everything you've been through was preparing you for this. The setbacks, the heartbreaks, the failures, they weren't there to break you, they were there to build you. They taught you what you could endure. They showed you what you're capable of. They pushed you toward a version of yourself you never would have met without the struggle. And that version of you, the one who kept going, kept believing, kept rising, that's the real you. That's the you the world needs. That's the you who was born to be free. Freedom becomes more than a destination. It becomes your identity. It becomes how you show up in the world, in your work, in your relationships, in your mindset. You're not ruled by scarcity, but guided by abundance. You're not stuck in fear, but fueled by faith. You're not driven by ego, but anchored in purpose. That's what it means to be truly free, to be so aligned with your values, so clear in your vision, and so committed to your growth that nothing can move you off your path. And make no mistake, your path matters. Your freedom matters, because this isn't just about you. The freer you become, the more impact you can make, the more lives you can touch, the more light you bring into the world. The world is not changed by those who conform, it's changed by those who break free, those who refuse to be silent, those who rise above, those who live out loud. You become a living example of what's possible, and in doing so, you give others the courage to do the same. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until the fear disappears. Don't wait until you have every step mapped out. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, and trust that as you move, the path will reveal itself. Freedom favors the bold. It favors those who are willing to walk alone, to be misunderstood, to bet on themselves when no one else will. It's not the easy road, but it's the only one worth taking. You'll look back one day and smile. You'll see the battles you fought, the limits you shattered, the nights you cried but kept going anyway. You'll see how far you've come, not just in your achievements, but in your transformation. You'll see a life built by design, not by default. A life shaped by principles, not pressure. A life that inspires, uplifts, and empowers. And you'll know deep in your soul that it was all worth it. Every sacrifice, every setback, every step. Because now you stand in the fullness of who you were always meant to be, free, fearless, fulfilled. So take this moment, breathe it in, let it sink into your bones. This is your life, your shot, your chapter. Make it count, live the laws, embody the principles, be the proof, and never forget. Complete freedom is not just a dream. It's your destiny, and it's yours, and now that you've embraced it, this mission, this mindset, this identity, you must protect it, because freedom once earned must be guarded, not with walls, but with wisdom, not with control, but with clarity. You don't arrive at complete freedom and then relax into apathy. No, you sharpen yourself daily. You recommit hourly. You refine who you are in every decision, every interaction, every breath. You've fought too hard to hand it back to distractions, to fear, to the noise of a world that wants to tame you. You are not meant to live in submission to lesser things. You are not meant to bow to the opinions of the crowd or the limitations of your past. You are not meant to stay silent when your heart beats with truth. You are not meant to drift in indecision while your purpose screams for movement. You were created to live wide awake, to move with force, to rise with honor, to speak with fire, to act with faith. This is not just motivational talk. This is your reminder, your permission, your command, because deep down you've always known there's more to you. More power, more brilliance, more purpose. It's been buried under expectation and fear and repetition and survival. But now you're here, you've dug deep, you've stripped away the lies, and you've come face to face with your own greatness. And once you've tasted that, nothing else satisfies. Don't let it fade. Don't let the world lull you back to sleep. Don't let the smallness of others convince you to shrink. Stay awake. Stay bold. Stay relentless. The fire you carry is rare. It's sacred, it's needed, and it must be fed. Fed by truth, fed by movement, fed by vision. Every time you say no to what's beneath you and yes to what calls you higher, you feed it. Every time you act despite fear, speak despite pressure, love despite pain, you feed it, and that fire becomes your guide. It burns away confusion, it burns away weakness, it burns away everything false. And yes, there will be moments you're tested, times when you feel like giving in, times when you feel alone, but that's the price of greatness. Freedom is not found in the crowd. It's found in the wilderness, on the edge, in the arena. It's found in the places few are willing to go, but that's why it's so powerful. That's why it changes you, because you earned it in a way most never will, and when you fall, and you will, you don't stay down. You don't waste time in shame or regret. You rise, faster, wiser, stronger, because failure doesn't steal your freedom unless you give it permission. Mistakes don't define you unless you surrender to them. You take what you've learned, you take your scars, and you keep building. You don't quit the mission. You refine the method. You don't retreat into fear. You run deeper into purpose. This is how you become unstoppable. This is how you live in complete freedom, by owning every part of your journey, by embracing every season, by refusing to bow to anything smaller than your calling. You begin to see every challenge as an opportunity, every no as redirection, every loss as training, every delay as divine preparation, because you know who you are, you know what you stand for, and you know where you're headed. That kind of clarity makes you dangerous to mediocrity, to conformity, to anything that seeks to hold people back. When you walk into a room, you carry a different energy, one that says, I've done the work, I've faced the fire, and I will not be moved. That's the power of a life governed by the laws of freedom. You become a beacon, a force, a standard, not through noise, but through presence, through action, through example. Others will feel it. Some will admire it. Some will resist it. Some will try to silence it. But you will not shrink. You will not bend. You will not go back to who you were. You will stay the course, not because it's easy, but because it's right, because you've seen what's possible, because you've tasted what it feels like to live in alignment, in truth, in fire. And you want nothing less. And when the doubts creep in, when the storm rages, when your path gets blurry, you return to the laws, the disciplines, the principles. They are your anchor, your compass, your sword. They are not mere ideas. They are the very structure of the life you are building. And when you live by them, you don't just survive the storm, you command it. You walk through it, not with fear, but with power. Let the world misunderstand you. Let them talk. Let them doubt. That's not your concern. Your concern is becoming the person who cannot be stopped, the one who lives with such fierce integrity, such relentless drive, such unwavering clarity, that nothing can derail them. That's what freedom looks like. That's who you are becoming. And you won't stop here, because freedom is not the end, it's the beginning of true impact, of legacy, of influence. Now that you are free, you lead differently, you love differently, you build differently. You don't just chase dreams, you create movements. You don't just escape the system, you redefine it. You don't just win for yourself, you pull others up with you. This is how change happens. Not with noise, but with conviction. Not with crowds, but with leaders. Not with comfort, but with courage. That's what you've chosen. That's what you embody. That's the power you now hold. So walk tall, speak truth, live boldly, keep your heart pure and your spirit fierce. Stay rooted in principle and on fire with purpose. Never forget who you are. Never forget what you carry. And never, ever forget that the laws of freedom aren't just something you know. They are something you live. Daily, deeply, unapologetically. The world needs more people like you. Brave enough to rise, bold enough to lead, free enough to live wide open. Be that person. Stay that course. Live that law, and let your life be the proof.